So I had a hardtail with 12 gears, like most bikes, and then I gave 11 away and made my hardtail into a single speed. Why did I do that? Well, let's find out and let's check in now that it's been about 2 months since the conversion. Hey, it's Steve. Welcome to Hardtail Life. I ride a 2021 Knolly Tyaughton Hardtail. This hardtail has aggressive geometry made here in the Pacific Northwest for the North Shore gnar. Now, the North Shore gnar, if for those that haven't seen it, it's got roots, it's got rocks, it's steep, it's janky. We don't know what flow is, so we find our own by just smashing through rocks and roots. So you need a bike that is capable of handling all that tech. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, my bike is a 2021 Knolly Tyaughton. It came with 12 speeds. When I first bought it, it was the NX spec. I've been upgrading parts as I've been breaking them, so it's closer to a GX, like a mid-level GX spec now. But I gave up 11 of those speeds to go single speed. Why did I go single speed? Well, I think it comes down to curiosity. Mountain biking is all about just having fun, and single speeding is just another way to do that. I had this unique position of riding with quite a few single speeders, right? There's Andrew Major, there's Brian Berg, there's Terry, there's Warren on the Sunshine Coast, shout out to Warren, and Graydon, right? That's like 5 single speeders I know right there, all hardtail single speeders. And when you ride around them long enough, then I guess I got curious and thought, well, why not, right? It's all for fun anyways, so why not give it a shot? Now, if you're curious about converting your bike to a single speed, there are a few options. Check out this video somewhere here on screen where Andrew helped me convert my 2021 Knolly Tyaughton into a single speed. My Tyaughton, the frame does not have sliding dropouts. So the sliding dropout is the ability for you to adjust the distance of the crank or bottom bracket to the hub. So if you want to go single speed, you have to be able to make up the difference in the chain tension somewhere. And it doesn't have to be a lot, right? It has to be the length of like one chain link, right? Because the idea is you get the chain just perfect, and then you just kind of add a little bit of tension, and then you're good to go for single speeding. So in my case, because I don't have sliding dropouts, Andrew had this, he says it wasn't his idea, but I'm gonna just credit him because I don't know who else to credit. He heard it from someone else. He used a MRP chain guide as a chain tensioner. So that's mounted to the little tabs around the bottom bracket. And so I'm adding tension to the chains through that. And it's actually quite clean. So I've got a clean rear triangle. There's nothing there, just a single cog, the chain, and then the chain tension gets taken up with this MRP G5 chain guide. So that's the technical bit. So how has it been going? Okay, let's talk about descending, okay? Going down. This is all the fun bits that it's hard to argue that that's almost the entire reason. Not everyone's full reason, but it's a big part of why we do mountain biking. Now, when it comes to descents, I freaking love single speeding. Those of you that have been following the channel has known that I've broken a couple of derailleurs and stuff, and derailleurs have gone into spokes and spokes through rim tape, and it's been, let's just say that line choice and me aren't quite right. So not having a derailleur to worry about and just choosing gnarly lines. I don't know if you remember me saying the North Shore gnar with rocks and roots and stuff. They're not derailleur friendly. They will eat derailleurs if you're not careful with your line. So not having a rear derailleur has been so liberating. The other thing that's liberating is surprisingly just having one gear. Not having a choice in your gear just takes that whole gear selection thing out of your mind. If you see a climb or a little punchy bit coming, you know that you got to get up out of the saddle and punch because you already know your gear. You know your gear ratio so well because that's the only gear you've been using. So instead of having it change all the time on you during the ride, it's just the same all the time. So I don't have to worry about lines as much through not worrying about whacking a derailleur. I don't have to worry what gear I'm in. I'm always in the gear, whether it's right or wrong, it's always in the same one, and I know it. And I don't think I'm any slower. In fact, last season, I participated in a handful of NSMBA, the North Shore Mountain Biking Association, 5er events, which are just this great community enduro style event. And I did kind of bottom third, like around the 60-ish, 70th percent. And I said to myself, hey, you know what? What better measurement than just to do the 5er on a single speed? And I did. And I did about the same or even a little bit better. You can see my results on screen. I was quite happy with it. I didn't go any slower going downhill. Now, granted, these stages didn't have a ton of pedaling. I'm looking at you, Leopard. If I had to do Leopard, maybe that would have been a super stress test. But Leopard wasn't part of it, and I did okay. I did better than I thought. So when it comes to descents, single speeding gets my double thumbs up. By the way, this kind of proves that it's not about the bike. I mean, the bike a little bit, but mountain bike training, skills training makes a huge difference. I've been doing skills training kind of ongoing the whole time through Essential Cycles, and I feel like that makes up any mechanical handicaps through the descending part, at least, of going to a single speed. So if you ever have any doubts about coaching, I mean, I'm proof that you can go simpler and more like go backwards in bike tech and go forwards in standings just by upgrading your mountain biking skills. So hey, if you're in the North Shore, check out Essential Cycles. I'm going to plug them because Jacqueline does such a great job. Mountain biking skills is super important. You can take it to any bike in any situation. So look into that, invest in yourself, not just your bikes. So how's it like climbing with a single speed? Well, the gear ratio that I'm running right now is a 28 oval chainring. It's a 1-up. And then I've got an Endless Biking rear cog. It's actually off of Andrew Major's bike, one of his, many, he's got many. It's a 28 chainring, 22 cog. Now that gear ratio, for those that don't know, I used to think of it as if you're running a 12-speed SRAM drivetrain, you're in like the 6th or 7th gear, like kind of right in the middle. So if you want to imagine climbing with that, you got to get out of the saddle a lot. In fact, when I climb, I'm rarely in my saddle. And that's one of the biggest differences that I'm noticing is that when I climb, I used to be in a geared bike. When I climb in a gear bike, I used to have tired legs and that was about it. Now when I climb, it's a full body experience. I'm pulling with my body to counteract kind of the pushing forces because I need to get the leverage, you know. So there was this day where Meg and I climbed the no quarter twice back to back. The no quarter is kind of like the tech climb on Mount Frome. And you know, it's a decent workout. It's about 45 to about an hour or so for those who are kind of quick. And if you're casual, it's like an hour to, I don't know, hour 10 or whatever. And so we did that twice. And so by the time I was done, my hands had callus like building on them because I was just pulling so hard. My elbows and my arms like tired, like I did a workout tired. My shoulders, my core, it was like full on. So climbing with a single speed, it's very different than sitting and spinning on a geared bike. Do I like it? Actually, I don't mind, and it makes me feel like I'm doing a more complete workout. It just means that, you know, if you're doing longer days, you may have to pace yourself or maybe just take more rest days, like I am today. So, do I miss shifting? Surprisingly, not that much. When I climb, you know, I'm just thinking about how I'm going to move to get up these tech climbs. When it comes to like service road climbs that are just the same and even all the time, that becomes very tiring. If you're in that awful gradient where it's way too hard to sit, but a little bit too easy to stand, and you're kind of in that weird zone where nothing's quite right, that's when single speeding can suck a little bit. And that's when you'll just have to you know, grind. And when it comes to climbs, it's the grind anyways, and you're just at different levels of suckiness. So I guess there's that. Surprisingly, the worst part about single speeding, or maybe not surprisingly, is that in the city, that's what I miss the most. Now, this is my one bike. This is my only bike. A lot of people single speed their secondary bikes, or they have a secondary hardtail. My hardtail single speed is my only bike. And so sometimes when I need to get around in the city, I have to ride it. And that's when I miss gearing the most, because 28-22 is way too short for city riding. I'm spinning out all the time at ridiculously low speeds. That's when I find myself reaching for the shifter, only to find that there's nothing there. To be fair, this is an aggressive mountain bike, hardtail, single speed, made for the North Shore, geared for the North Shore, so it's not a fair comparison. But as someone who has only just one bike, well, you want to know when I miss it the most? That's when I miss it the most. All right, so I think that concludes the single speeding update. Do I love it? Freaking love it. I think I might have to call the 6-month trial early. I think I'm just gonna go and order my own cog and chain tensioner and just kind of maybe think about the next step, which is a service to the fork. I think now that the drivetrain part is all quiet, I'm hearing all sorts of other things. Like there's this rattling sound that maybe is my headset, maybe is my fork. There's a creaking coming from my bottom bracket when I'm pedaling, so I gotta address that. My brakes squeak periodically, so I think my rotor's slightly bent. Yeah, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. Anyways, if you're relatively new to riding, but you love it and you would do it all the time, then you've come to the right place. We're eager to ride all the trails and to learn all the things, so make sure you subscribe and follow along on our mountain biking adventures. Thanks for watching and see you in the trails.